everyone, I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. I kind of wanted to do a special video here for you all because, this channel has kind of been built on Stephen King fans, fellow Stephen King fans. A lot of subscribers on this channel have kind of subscribed after watching some Stephen King videos. So I thought, what better way to celebrate that and welcome you all than to do a proper shelf tour of my Stephen King shelf. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Again, I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. I'm a composer for film, television, and gaming, specializing in book adaptations. Most recently, my music can be found in The Wheel of Time Season 2, His Dark Material Season 3, and the official companion album for Brent Week's Lightbringer series. So without further ado, let's take a look at my Stephen King shelf, where I'm going to kind of go shelf by shelf, book by book, talk a little bit about which copies I own, which ones I have hardbacks in, which ones I have paperbacks in, if there are any special kind of stories that are associated with how I procured a particular special edition of a book. So without further ado, let's go. All right, everyone. So here's my Stephen King shelf, my beautiful prized possession here in the corner of my room of my music studio. So that way a book is never too far away, and neither is a cat, apparently. There's Pepper saying hi. So I've been collecting Stephen King books over the last, few years especially, and I've been trying to lately focus my efforts on collecting books that I have not read yet. So there's a ton that I've read, but there's also a ton I haven't read. I've read about 45 novels so far, including the short story collections, including the nonfiction stuff. So still have a ways to go, but I figured this could be kind of a fun video. I'll go book by book, shelf by shelf, talk about any special stories about how I got these books and kind of, what made them sit on my shelf. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So first of all, here's my prized possession here, a copy of Stephen King's The Dark Tower, The Gunslinger, the first book in the Dark Tower series. One of my favorite things that Stephen King has ever done. It's a really beautiful cover. It's very worn. I got it at Bart's Books in Ojai. They have, I think, the world's largest bookstore out there. So I've been finding really good finds over there. It's about an hour and a half away from LA. And this one is special because it's from 1982. I haven't seen too many of these lurking around. So I figured I'd get it, and it was like only a few bucks. So I was very lucky to find it, and it was kind of a nice thing in my collection. I don't think that it's necessarily a rare book or anything, but it just kind of looked really cool. And I love the vintage stuff. Sometimes it's fun collecting more of the vintage things rather than the flashy new covers. At least I think so anyways. So that was this one. Now, this one right here, I gotta show you how worn this is because it's pretty hilarious. It's like taped back together. This is the first Stephen King book I ever got, and at that time, I got it at a garage sale, and I got it used. So it was already pretty tattered, and it has gotten way more tattered since, but I can't part with it because it's the first thing that got me into Stephen King, so have to have it, Pet Sematary, great book if you haven't read it. Now, the second Stephen King book I ever bought that I never actually finished reading when I was, shortly after I read Pet Sematary is none other than It. It was a little scary for me, honestly, at the age of 14. I put it down. It was a little bit too adult for me, so I picked it up later on, and I actually only read it a few years ago, and of course, love it. So, had to show you that. These are a lot of paperbacks and things like that. I'm going to move a little quicker here so you can see some of these. But The Shining paperback, just a kind of standard copy. The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon has a special place in my heart because I read that one actually all in like a couple sittings at a bookstore when I was in high school, and I absolutely loved it at the time. It was a very quick read for me. Storm of the Century I haven't read yet, but I've heard it's great. I think someone was commenting on my channel saying how great it is for being a screenplay, and I've never read a Stephen King screenplay, so let me know in the comments if you've read that one and what you think of it. So moving right along here, we've got Everything's Eventual, which is a short story collection. We got The Green Mile. Both of these I haven't read yet. Actually, all three of these I haven't read. Gerald's Game. So these three are on the docket. I'm trying to read one Stephen King book a month until I finish all of his books. So let me know which one I should start with. I'm assuming people are going to say The Green Mile, but yeah, we'd love to know your thoughts. Moving right along, this thing is a behemoth right here. This is the Dark Tower collection. I got it on sale on Amazon, I think like around, this must have been closer to Black Friday sales or something, but I got it for like 60 bucks or something. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful kind of hard paperback collection in this nice little slipcase here. Then we have Different Seasons. Also haven't read it yet. You Like It Darker, which I just finished when it first came out. I read it and I just loved it. It's kind of Stephen King's return to form. So if you haven't read it yet, definitely check it out if you want scarier stories. Different Seasons is on the docket for this summer, so I'm really looking forward to getting into that. Then I have, The Stand, Lisi's story. The Stand I read, actually, it's funny, I read The Stand during the pandemic. So it was like the end of March 2020, and I was reading a book about a plague that wipes out 99.6% of the population or whatever it was. Pretty funny and also kind of not funny at the same time. Anyways, then Lisi's story, which I quite enjoyed. I know it kind of gets a bad rap at times, but I liked it. I thought it was a good book, a really nice kind of meditation on marriage. From a Buick 8, I haven't read yet actually, but I want to read that. The Long Walk is fantastic, and highly recommend you check it out if you haven't. I haven't read the Colorado Kid yet, but I have read Later, which was another one of his hard case crime series. He's been getting into a lot of that over the last 10-15 years. So if you like that kind of thing, if you've read Mr. Mercedes, that's a good place to start with his hard case crime stuff. But these are great. I've read Joyland, which I don't have a copy of yet, but Later is fantastic. Colorado Kid I haven't read yet, so let me know in the comments if you've read it and you enjoyed it. But moving right along here, we got some original copies. 4 Past Midnight, Stephen King's On Writing, which is his autobiographical book / kind of some writing tips. Really fantastic, and it's considered, one of his greats. So highly recommend you check it out if you haven't. 4 Past Midnight, The Dark Half, and then Just After Sunset. So it's funny, Just After Sunset I think I got for like $5 or something at a store called the Iliad in LA. And it's just this massive used bookstore, and they have 2 shop cats that just hang out. Like one is called Apollo, one is called Zeus or something. Anyways, I got that for $5. These ones actually I found, all 3 of these I found for $1 each, if you could believe it, in the condition they're in at the library book sale. So I don't know if you all have libraries close by, but libraries are a fantastic way of, sometimes they get an overflow of books and they need to get rid of them, of course, to make room and stuff. And so they'll have library book sales where they'll sell things for, paperbacks for 50 cents, hardbacks for $1. So it's pretty amazing, what you can get at those places. And actually, you're going to see later on in this collection, as I go down the list, a lot of these books actually I got at that book sale. So pretty amazing. Holly, got it new when it first came out. Desperation, actually this is an original copy from when I was I think 16 or 17 or something. I got this one. So this has just been sitting on my shelf for like 20 something years waiting to be read. So and then the companion book, The Regulators, which I got recently. The Regulators, The Outsiders, both of these I actually got on thriftbooks.com. So I don't know if you all know Thrift Books, but if you haven't checked it out, you should absolutely check it out. It's a great site for finding kind of used Stephen King hardcovers, especially if you're like me and you want to have more hardcovers in your collection and you don't mind them being a little worn. Then sometimes you can find really good ones like these, which I really was grateful to find. Then Billy Summers, a newer book I got recently, Dr. Sleep and actually 11/22/63 were part of the Dollar collection. This one is my favorite Stephen King book standalone of all time. It's about a guy who tries to stop the Kennedy assassination. And Dr. Sleep is a sequel to The Shining, so definitely check those out. I have to read Dr. Sleep. I promised myself I would read it once, and then watch the Mike Flanagan adaptation. So I'm still got to get to that. Maybe I'll try to fit that in around Halloween time or something. Moving right down here, we got another short story collection in The Bazaar of Bad Dreams, another $1 purchase at the library. The Institute, another $1 purchase at the library. Rose Matter, another $1 purchase at the library. Fantastic finds there. This is an original copy that I got of Needful Things that I actually got at a library book sale in like the late 90s or something. So pretty awesome when that happens. This copy of Under the Dome here by Stephen King, I got it at thriftbooks.com. So another banger there. And then actually most of these were all thriftbooks.com, I believe. Yep, Dreamcatcher. I've been kind of collecting them over time. So Skeleton Crew is another kind of short story collection. Finders Keepers is actually book 2 of the Mr. Mercedes trilogy. So I have the first 2, but I don't have the third one. And, I know people are very adamant about having the same size books on their bookshelves. They want everything to be very pristine. So, I might be committing blasphemy here in terms of how I kind of go about purchasing books, but I love original copies. I like things that are new, like this one, Fairy Tale, which is one of his newer books that I'm kind of in the middle of. And I like his older stuff too. Like I like the way those covers look. You know, Skeleton Crew, it's just got like, if you look at, just look at the cover of it, it's just got like, I love the font. I love the color, the kind of simplistic design here. That's the kind of stuff you get on older books. So yeah, I always like that kind of stuff. And then we have, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, which is another one I haven't read, a short story collection. Duma Key I also have to read. One is called Cycle of the Werewolf. We got it at Barnes & Noble or something. I haven't actually read it yet, so kind of looking forward to checking it out. Interesting kind of illustrations there. But let me know in the comments if you've read this one. It's kind of interesting. And then now we're going into what they call book club editions. So you'll notice these ones are original copies, right? Christine, look at that. Look at that logo there. Can't go wrong. So a little bit worn, but kind of thinner covers, but really nice. Fun to read these actually, because you can kind of read them in bed and they're not too big. So that's always nice. Then you have The Dead Zone. Look at that. Look at that cover. I just love these old covers. The fonts are freaking fantastic. It's awesome. And then we have Revival. An underrated masterpiece, I think, one of Stephen King's best endings, and really a coming-of-age story as well at the same time. Then we have Black House, which is the sequel to The Talisman. So I forget if I have Talisman here. I don't think I do yet. Okay, I guess I got to collect that. Then we have Blaze. We have If It Bleeds, another kind of novella collection here. Dolores Claiborne, which I haven't read yet. Looking forward to checking that out. Insomnia, I have read, and I actually reread it recently. You know, I read it when I was first younger, kind of like got all these cool Dark Tower connections, but at that time I hadn't read The Dark Tower. I had not read, very much at that time, and a story about people in their twilight years was not something that resonated with me as much, you know, when you're 16 years old. But as I've grown older and as I've read The Dark Tower, I found the connections to be very striking, the story to be very compelling. And, you know, it's just interesting how your mind changes as you go through life and you grow older. So really great book there. Highly recommend. Then we have some original copies of Bag of Bones and Hearts in Atlantis. Kind of almost look like twin covers there. These ones I got at that Bart's Books in that outdoor bookstore. So a little bit worn, but really nice. Then we have Full Dark No Stars, which I don't think this book gets enough credit. So I just want to kind of pull it out and highlight it here. This book is very interesting. And sometimes it's nice when you get it at a library book sale or something, they come with these protective covers. So, you know, get the little gloss here. But this book is a series of novellas, I believe, or short stories. And it's about the evil that people do to each other. It's not about the supernatural as much as it is about people. That's a very compelling thing. And I think something Stephen King does well, that, you know, people always think of him as the supernatural guy, but he really does these types of stories, human stories, very well. So wanted to show you that real quick. And then Cell, which I haven't read. I've heard it's not that great, but I'm curious. So I'll be reading that at some point. Sleeping Beauties. I think this book, you know, a lot of people put this at the bottom of their Stephen King pile. I liked it. You know, I think the ending was a little flubbed, but I like the concept a lot. And I think the cover's really beautiful, honestly. So showing you that. And then the last book here in my little collection is the Tommyknockers. This is the one unfortunate thing about trying to get stuff from thrift books is sometimes you don't know quite what you're going to get. And I didn't read the fine print and didn't realize it wasn't going to come with a dust jacket, but still really cool to have an original hardcover. And maybe I'll find the dust jacket somewhere at some point. But that is my Stephen King collection. Hey, thanks so much for watching all. That kind of concludes the Stephen King journey there. I thought it was kind of a fun little video that I could do to show you a little bit about my Stephen King collection. And honestly, I would love to know more about your collections because I'm sure you're all avid readers and collectors of Stephen King. So let me know in the comments, like, are there any kinds of books that you like? Do you like hardcover? Do you prefer kind of more the paperback, or does it matter to you? Are there any that are on your list, like bucket list ones that you want to own? Special editions or anything like that? I know there's this one Barnes & Noble edition which I think includes Carrie, Salem's Lot, and The Shining in one beautiful kind of leather-bound hardcover, so that's one on my list. But let me know your list. Again, I'm Nick Hill with Shelf-Esteem. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like these types of videos, and I'll keep trying to make new and interesting content for you all. So just keep on letting me know in the comments what you prefer to see, and I'll keep adjusting my channel to accommodate that. All right? Take care. Have a great one. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. I'll see you on the next one.